Devin joins us in Wichita. Devin, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, how are you guys doing today?
Great. How can John and I help?
I just had a question about the feeling of resentment towards my stepbrother and his girlfriend when they finance cool items, and me and my wife save up over time for those same items.
Hey, can you, Devin, talk directly into your phone there for me?
Sorry about that.
There we go.
There you go. Okay.
Okay.
Say that again.
So you have resentment towards your brother and your sister-in-law because they're financing things, and you save up for things and paying cash.
Yes, him and his girlfriend.
Are they financing things through your bank account?
No, just it's the idea that they have cool items now when me and my wife are saving up over time for those cooler items later on.
Oh.
What's a cool item?
Well, they just bought a house and they're both 22, and we're still saving up for a down payment. And I know that they loaned a down payment, so it's technically not a down payment. But
So
and now they're talking about getting cool cars and whatnot. So
a few weeks ago, so one cool thing about working at Ramsey is there's a lot of people have this is like a sugar addict's nightmare. There's lots of bowls of candy around this place. And so I grabbed a handful on the way out from somebody's desk, and I took it home to my kids. I've got a 11, almost 12-year-old, and a 6-year-old. And my 6-year-old is allergic to peanuts and things, and so I gave my 11-year-old several pieces of candy. And all I had for my 6-year-old was just a little bit, so I gave it to her. And she's 6. And she said, but you gave Hank this stuff. And I said, yeah, I know, and I brought you this. I'm trying to keep you alive. I'm trying to keep you from being dead. And in her 6-year-old sweet little mind, there was this great injustice that had just happened. And I tell you this because she was 6. 6! As a country, we have decided that we don't let her vote or buy guns or drink beer because she's 6. So, fast forward to you, Brother Devin. Why is this getting into you so much? You and your wife are working hard. You're doing right. You're trying not to end up on the side of the road, which is where your other family members are clearly going to end up. Like, why is this getting in your soul so much? Because you're not 6.
well, we both grew up in families where financing was just a normal situation.
Okay.
So we've always grew up around nicer cars or finance cars. So they were always, a year, maybe 2 years from new. And ever since I took your guys' course in high school and ever since we got married last year, we've never been in debt before, me and her. So we've never had any kind of loans or nothing. So it's always been saving up, and saving up always takes longer than, it's easy to just go finance something. So we're really close to my stepbrother and his girlfriend. So we're constantly hanging out with them. And whenever we go over to their house and they start talking about how they're going to go here in a couple months, they're wanting to go buy a brand new Jeep for his girlfriend and whatnot. It sounds awesome. And I know that when we leave their house, we're going, well, that's pretty stupid that they're doing that.
Yes,
it's still it's still that feeling of that, they're going to have it though. And that it's pretty cool. So it's just weird.
Devin, have you heard this quote from Carrie Fisher? Resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. That's what's happening right now. You're on a different journey. If you didn't know your brother, you'd have no clue if he had a paid-for house and a paid-for car or if he was drowning in debt.
It's true.
So when I pull up to someone at the stoplight, my Honda Civic, it's an '09 with body damage, and the guy next to me is driving a brand new Tesla, I don't know his financial situation. He doesn't know mine. He doesn't know I have a paid-for house and have no debt. And it doesn't matter.
You could say, that's a really rad car.
And I do. I say, man, it'd be nice to have a Tesla, but I don't have the money.
And then I'm on with my day. I'm poking at you, Devin, but here's the honest truth. We do get this call a lot, and we have this conversation a lot. People make this journey all about the numbers, the dollars and cents, the savings, the things we're giving up. And if you do that, your identity ends up in ash because everything in your life is about the stuff we don't have. So the challenge moving forward for you is to flip the entire way you're looking at this around. You found an incredible partner. You found a great wife that is on the same page with you, spiritually, psychologically, financially. Y'all are working towards something, and it's hard. And yes, it's cool to ride in a rad Jeep. It is. You know, it's not cool when they tow it away because I can't afford it or because we broke up. It's super cool to live in a fancy house. It is not cool to be pacing the house because you don't know how you're going to pay your bills. And I've been there. I've done that. Where my wife's asleep and I can't breathe. I'm about to throw up and it's 2 o'clock in the morning because I don't know how we're going to pay our bills. And so I want you to flip this thing around and not look at the debt-free journey as an adventure and crap you don't have. But I want you to flip it around and say, we are on the adventure of a lifetime to make sure that nobody in Devin's family tree ever deals with this stuff again. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's an entire identity shift. Your actions day to day will actually be very similar. You're not going to borrow money. You're going to keep saving for things. You're going to pay stuff off as it comes. Right? You're going to keep doing the same things, but why you're doing it is so different. Not because we're just not going to have stuff, but because we are making it. Stops with us. Those people who think they're better because they drive fancy cars they can't afford, who live in houses they can't afford, who co-sign on things with their girlfriends, which is just a disaster. You get what I'm saying, Devin?
Well, here's what I want to do, Devin. I want to send you a copy of Rachel Cruz's book, Love Your Life, Not Theirs, because what this comes down to is comparisons. And you're going, well, I'm not where they are. Dude, you're way ahead. It just looks different.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at things that aren't real. Because it's all finance. They don't own any of it. And that's okay. You can still love them. You can hang out with them in their beautiful house and ride in their nice cars. You go, hey, man, that's your journey. If you want to know what I'm up to, how I became debt-free, and how we can do all these things over here, let us know. And if not, that's cool. I'm still your brother.
Yeah. It's just it's not about the shiny stuff, and this is all about an identity shift.
Yeah. But this is a real crisis, I think, for this generation, especially for the younger ones. It's so much easier to get
crushed our
stuff.
parents, too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of where we got into all this. It crushed our parents, too. Oh, I can build this bigger house. Look, they've got 2 cars. Like, I grew up, and we only had 1 family car, and then all of a sudden it was like, well, the neighbor's got 2, right? So it's been this way forever. They've got that, we should get that. And it's been keeping up with the Joneses, right? That's been forever. The problem now is the Joneses are international because we got these digital boxes, so they're everyone's a Joneses,
You
right?
scroll, and you're like, I'll never be enough.
Yeah.
I'll never amount to anything.
And I
Look
used
at
to be
these
able to
people.
see my neighbor's 2 cars, but then I would see, like, I don't really want their life. I don't get that. Now I get the curated version. So I get where Devin's at. I get it. But, man.
When you can make that shift and go, man, I'm so grateful that we don't have to make any payments. I'm so grateful to have this level of contentment and where we're at in the journey. And that sacrifice builds character.
Yeah.
And that character will carry you through the rest of your life.
So there's a great thing I learned. I ran track in high school and a little bit in college.
It shows.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. That was my lo-fi high school callback flex.
What a flex.
That's right. But I learned often especially when you're training, not to race the people around you. Race the clock. You're racing you. How'd you do yesterday? How are you doing today? Are you meeting the goals you set up today? And it's you versus that clock, man, which means it's you versus you. When you're on this financial journey, it's so tempting to look to your left and your right, your left and your right. It's about where you're headed.
You
Where
can't
you
run like
decided to
Usain
run.
Bolt, John, but you can beat John from yesterday.
That's exactly right.
And that is a
that's
race
the
worth
person
running.
I'm competing against.
Well
Right?
said.